Everyone, welcome back to the Wonder of Anime podcast. I'm your host, Lisa. I am a multimedia content creator, and my work spans across my blog, my YouTube channel, and of course, this podcast. And this episode, I am so excited because I have one of my dream list guests that I've wanted to have on the podcast since I started following her on TikTok, and that is Leah. Leah is a romance connoisseur from the Hudson Valley in New York. She is a lifelong reader and enjoys everything from novels to manga, BL, GL, shoujo, josei, and the occasional shonen. She'll also indulge in reality TV and Bollywood movies. Leah is a content creator on Instagram and YouTube and also writes about all things book, manga, and romance for Reading Magazine and Pretty Girls Do Read. You can find her on all socials as Wisteria Leah. Welcome to the show.
Oh my gosh, thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Me too. I'm so excited. Did I say your name right? I was
yes.
Sometimes when it's people's comment, I'm like, what if it's Leah? And I'm not doing it. Not doing it right.
You were good.
But yes, I'm so excited to have you on the show, and we're going to be talking about one of my favorite series. And I actually don't let people talk about my favorite series unless it's someone that I care about, because I'm guarded. I'm you're not. I have a no list.
Yes.
But I was no, this is someone I could trust with my love. But before we get into it, when did you start creating content?
So I started making content on TikTok, I want to say 2022-ish, because I actually only got into manga and anime seriously in 2021. And then I was following a bunch of people that liked the same things as me, and I was okay, I think the only way I can be friends with them is if I also put my face on the internet so they don't think I'm a freak. So I started making content in 2022-ish on TikTok, and then I started my Instagram a year-ish ago, because there was the whole oh, TikTok's getting banned, now it's not getting banned, whatever. I was I can't deal with this anymore. So I actually don't make a lot of TikTok content anymore, but I'm on Instagram about a year now, and then I just started my YouTube a month ago. I have 2 videos up.
Yay. Yeah, I was thinking I'd be using TikTok every month, once a month. I'm okay. Yes. it's just so, it's changed so much, I think, since we've initially got on it.
Yep.
But that is interesting that how did you get into anime and manga since you got into it so late?
Okay, well, so I've been watching occasionally some of the shonen that everybody watches when we were little. And then I stopped reading, stopped watching everything in college. It was just too much. And then in 2020, when we were all home, my students actually got super into anime, and they were all watching My Hero Academia, so they were going nuts. I have so many drawings, whatever, and they're you have to watch. I was okay. So I started watching My Hero, and I was oh, this is good. And then my husband has been a lifelong anime watcher, very much, but shonen, action, all that stuff. And so he had me watch a couple of other ones, and then he had me watch Attack on Titan, and my life was changed. And I think it's so funny, with what I love now, to say that, I started with Attack on Titan, but it was magical. It was amazing. And so from there, I watched the whole anime. We actually, would argue, because I'd be no, we need to watch, 5 more episodes today. I actually can't wait till tomorrow. And, yeah, so then I watched that, and then I was okay, I need to know what happened. So I bought all the manga and started reading it, and caught up. So I read the last chapter as it got published. And then, but from watching all that and reading all the manga, I went to TikTok to go find some manga anime content. And then that is when I discovered shoujo and romance and josei, and that there were other genres of anime, and I was hooked from there.
I love that journey because it's so different from mine, because I'm I've been into anime and manga all my life.
Oh my God.
And it's funny because Attack on Titan is one of my top 5, and I have not finished it. And I own all the manga, and I literally have 4 episodes left, but my heart cannot take it. And the thing is, this is the one thing I will say, and I will block anyone who I already have everything filtered on YouTube. I have not been spoiled. So I literally have no idea. I don't have an inkling. I don't have a guess. I don't have a feeling on how it's going to end. And either in the manga or the anime, like nothing. And because of that, I'm just like, I can't. Like, and I've tried to, because I'm the kind of person that I'm like, I always watch the anime first and then I read the manga, but I'll get the manga before the anime's done, just so I'm like, as soon as the anime's done, I got everything. Yep. So I've had the manga for years, and I just literally, like, I was like, okay, I'm gonna start reading it, and then maybe like when I catch up to where I'm at the anime, I can push myself to finish. Yeah. And every day I'm like, I should finish those episodes, and I'll sit down and I'm like, I can't do that. Oh I'm just not ready.
It is painful. When I was crying so much that my husband brought me a towel. Like, tissues were not enough. He didn't know what to do. He brought me a whole towel. It was painful.
It was.
I get it. You should finish it because it's also like amazing, but it's rough.
I know, and everybody's like, girl, like, because especially like, because what happened with me is I saw the first season of Attack on Titan when it came out, like when I was in college, and then because it took so long from to get to the second season releasing, I like dropped it, and then I think at the beginning of 2021, I was like, all right, like the last season is about to come out, the first part. I was like, let me binge everything so I'm caught up. So then I was caught up, and then I was watching it week to week, and then it just got to then the next year when the second part came out, that was 2022, and I was like, I can't do this. Every episode, I was like, I had me and my friends watch it together, and then I just kind of got behind, and I'm like, I can't. I was like, I need to. My friend literally will beg me, like, girl, just press play. Like, you're almost there.
Oh, it's so hard. I get it. I like needed to know. And my nephew was actually born like when the last episode came out, so like I went to go like help out my sister-in-law, whatever. I've got a literal newborn in my arm and I'm crying over Attack on Titan. It's hard, but you should watch it, and then you should tell me what you think.
Everybody, there's like a list of people like, girl, text me when you're done. We want to know your thoughts. And I'm just like, I can't, but I will push through. But I do think that's such an interesting like journey and trajectory, and I love that. Like, I know a lot of people don't like that people got into anime during COVID. Yeah. And I'm actually like, surprisingly enough, I'm of the other mindset where I'm like, actually, the more of us, the merrier. I do think there are some annoying grifters that kind of got into the space. But I'm like, everyone is welcome. Like, because then this means more manga for me.
Yes, no, you're so right. And like, as somebody who joined the craze late, the only thing I'll say is that because it got so popular during like 2020, 2021, the manga collecting was wild. Like, I regret it so much now, 4 years later, when things are different, but like I was collecting the like original Fruits Baskets like singles. I paid so much money to like get those singles, and like they're still expensive now, but not as much. And like I have paid so much money to like collect specific volumes that like I could literally walk to the store and get like right now. I just think that that's like it's so funny, and I'm glad, like I'm so happy that I got into it because it really has changed my life. Like I've made so many friends, and also just like this entire room that I'm in right now is like all merch and like manga or whatever. And so like I just made so many friends. It's really changed my life. Like it's changed my relationship with my husband because like we had another thing to like connect over. And so I am like super glad that I got into it, and I'm glad that a lot of other people got into it because I made like so many friends. My best friend I made like through TikTok because we were both making like manga and anime content. So yeah.
It is kind of one of those things where like one of the creators, I'm actually having her on my podcast, I think we record next week, is Laura Nesif.
Yes.
Nesif, and she just made a YouTube video about like the manga collecting and like regrets that she had, and similar to you, like during the pandemic, like everyone was collecting manga, and I had been actually collecting manga since I was like 16, but then during the pandemic I started again because I had like the money, you know, like we got stimulus check, like we had extra money, you're not going out and spending money. And luckily for me, I didn't, because I've kind of like been around for a while. So I was like, all right, I'm not going to get like the
Yeah.
out of print stuff. But I definitely bought some series where I was like, oh, because my thing is, like I said, I watched the anime and I'm like, oh, I really like this. Like, let me get the manga in advance. And then I'd gotten some stuff. Like, I was getting all the B stars and I saw the first B star season and
Yeah.
I loved it. So I got all the manga. And then I never even read it because I just kind of lost interest in it.
Yep.
And then I ended up selling it, and I was like, okay, like, and I think luckily, like, I didn't like miss out on too much because I'm also like now I'm like, okay, like I can curate my collection. I know what I want versus what I don't. But I feel like like we can't be hard on ourselves because I feel like it definitely was made to be like, oh, you got to like get this now, and it's like now we're like in this surplus where people are like trying to get rid of everything.
Yes, it's so different now. But I'm glad that it happened. Like it was, I feel like it was just a really magical time. Like
It
yeah, there's the
was.
grifters and there are like some weirdos and there's still some weirdos in the
Hmm.
community. But there's also just like there's just so many great people. So I'm glad that it happened, but it's definitely different now than it was like
Yes.
three, four
And
years.
it's a learning lesson from like,
Yep.
okay, now I approach the buying and everything differently.
Much differently now. Yeah.
So the other thing that I wanted to bring up before we get into the show is that you do a mix of regular, I call them like traditional books. That's the best way I know how to describe them versus like manga. And what is your process with that? Because I know a lot of people just, first of all, a lot of people don't consider manga like read the same as reading regular books,
Hmm.
and then a lot of people wouldn't mix the content like doing both. Like they'd probably have like a manga account and then they'd have their traditional account. So how do you approach talking about both on your platform?
I feel like I just have to, because I'm a teacher, so like I have a full-time job. So to run multiple, and like I'm on different platforms too. So to run like multiple accounts on different platforms to talk about different things, honestly, it would be too much and I just like wouldn't do it. And I also find like content creation to just be fun. Like if I'm not having fun, I'm not gonna do it. So like sometimes you'll see like I won't post for like 2 weeks and it's because I just don't want to. Like
Hmm.
so as long as I'm having fun, I will do it. So for me, I needed to do everything in one like account, even on multiple spaces or whatever, but I needed to do it all in one account. Otherwise, I just wasn't going to do it. But I also have like I have such a deep love of both like traditional books and also of manga and anime, so it just made sense to me to combine them. And it also bothers me. I don't know if you know Lex. She's Burn Heels on like socials.
No, I probably don't.
I'll introduce you to. You'll love her. She's like a huge BL like fan. I adore her. But like we talk about it all the time how especially like book people tend to not consider manga as reading, which I think is insane because you're reading. Like there's words on the page. You
Hmm.
just get that extra special magic of visuals and this like whole community and merch and all that other stuff that you actually don't get with books. Like they're very similar interests but also very different. So for me, I needed to combine them. I do find though that I like taking pictures of like traditional books more than I like taking pictures of manga. I just like I have a hard time with the setup.
Hmm.
With a book, I can just like lay it down with like some flowers. I'm like, oh, that's cute. And then with manga, I'm like, oh, but I have like 7 magazines and I got Nendoroids and I got like how am I gonna get all one? So I do find that I like taking like static content of books more and I like talking and making videos of manga and merch more. So I am trying to like combine that and like find a medium, I guess, or a middle ground still after a couple years now of like being on Instagram. But that's also why I started my YouTube, so that way I could have like another space where I was making videos again and like showing things and like
Hmm.
talking as opposed to just always taking pictures. But I and I don't know, like I feel like also when I post on Instagram and it is something like manga related, I do lose followers, which is
Oh my
so funny.
god.
Yeah, and not like I don't have a lot to begin with. So I'm losing a lot anyway. But I do lose followers, and I don't know if it's because I don't post a lot of like manga stuff, at least like pictures. So I don't know if it's like the bookish people are like, oh, like what is this? I don't read that. Like that's weird. Like I don't know what it is exactly, but I do actually lose followers when I post about manga, but I don't care because I love it and I'm gonna keep reading it, so I might as well post about it.
Yeah, I definitely think like we're so ingrained to like think like manga is such a separate medium. Like, you know, if you read manga, like you don't read traditional books, and it's like, no, I can read both simultaneously.
Yeah.
And I actually haven't like been into traditional books for a long time. Like, not that I haven't been I just, in the sense of like nothing had like inspired. Like, I went through, I think also in 2020, like a real like chick lit phase where
Yeah.
I was reading all those cute like romances,
Yes.
and it was like 3 months straight where I read everything like Christina Lauren had ever written. I
Uh-huh.
was like, okay. And then I had like stopped, and I haven't until this year when I got into Danmei, where
Okay.
now I'm like reading traditional books again.
Yes.
But again, that's still like Asian media and it's
Yes.
BL. But I was like, this
So,
is what I've been missing in my traditional books.
yes. You just have
'Cause
to find like what you like and what
mhm.
works for you.
Yeah, it definitely is like that makes, and then like I think it's okay for people to like, I think this conception of like if you're a content creator in a certain niche, like you're an anime creator, you gotta watch anime every single day and always talk about anime. And it's like I have a multitude, like I contain
Yes.
multitudes within myself. I have so many interests.
Yes, exactly. We contain multitudes, and I have lots of hobbies, and I
Yes.
love to talk about them. I actually do want to start like a series because I get a lot of book girls who will be like, "Oh, like where do I when I do post about manga, like the real ones, they'll be like, "Oh, I want to start, but like where do I start?" And then like same thing, I get like some of my manga friends who are like, "Oh, like you were talking about this book, like what do you think?" I really want to start a series that's like, if you like this manga, read
Hmm.
this book, or like if you like this book, read this manga, and kind of like compare them to get people to do, if they're interested in it, to do both.
Yes, I love lists like that. I always save them. I'm like, save, 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 because
I love it.
sometimes I haven't read any, but I'm like, one day I will, and I will.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
One day I will be there. But I love that, and I love your content. So and I'm the same way of like, I do what makes me happy. Like, I'm not here to be like, go viral and be a full-time content creator.
Yeah,
Like, I got bills to pay.
exactly.
I have a job.
We're telling you, because I paid a single bill, so.
You're right. So, but it definitely makes it fun just to get on and talk about like the things that you love.
Hmm.
And that's always good.
Yeah.
So we're gonna switch gears.
Okay.
I don't know why I did the driving motion. That's not really switching gears.
That's it. I
But
love it.
now we're getting into talking about the anime that we're going to talk about today. And I have put you in the expert seat. You're coming on here
I love it.
to talk about one of my favorite anime, one of my favorite manga, and that is Sasaki and Miyano, which I just already am like in tears. I love it so much.
I love that.
And I always start off with like my journey talking about like a series. And Sasaki and Miyano, personally, like I said, I love it. I was somebody who I didn't read the manga because I knew the anime was going to come out.
Right.
So I was like, I heard about this anime. It's going to come out. I watched it week to week when it aired. I've rewatched it, I think, like twice. I've read the manga multiple times. And it's just a show that I love. So I love when I have someone, because a lot of people talk about a show that I don't know. So I love that somebody's here talking about a show that I love.
Yay.
So if you can tell us, what is Sasaki and Miyano?
Okay, well, it's the best, obviously, but it's a BL series, and I actually started with the manga and then watched the anime when it came out. But it's a BL series about this boy named Miyano who loves to read BL, and he meets an older student named Sasaki who like falls for him immediately, but neither of them have ever liked a boy before and have never even thought about it, never even realized it, which I think is so silly, especially for Miyano, because all he reads is BL manga, and like the whole thing is like, oh, you're a Fudanchi, 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 and he's like, yeah, but I don't see life that way. So Sasaki falls for him very, very quickly, and Miyano is like, oh, I've never like thought about another boy that way. The last crush that I had was in middle school, and it was a girl. Like I don't really understand what's happening, but like I know that I admire him and I like him or whatever. And then the series takes you on a journey as both of the boys kind of come to terms with their sexuality while also falling for each other in just like the sweetest, most precious and wholesome way.
It is so wholesome, and it is. It's such a journey. So how did you get introduced to the series at all?
So when I was making that switch from like Attack on Titan to discovering romance and other things, I got into a bunch of like different romances, but I always seek out queer media because I'm queer myself, and so I got into the world of BL, and I think Sasaki and Miyano might have been my first BL that I ever read. Because I don't remember one before it, but I would like, I was the same as you. Like, I had money back then that I don't have now. So I would go to Barnes and Noble and just be like, oh, this is cute. I'll pick it up,
Put
whatever.
it in the bag.
My haul videos, I look back and I was like, girl, if only you could live that life again. But I was just picking up whatever, and I saw that one at Barnes, and I was the art is also what really drew me in. I just think it's so beautiful. And now knowing more about like the history of manga and BL, I also think it's such a cute like nod to like the BL of like the 90s and the 2000s or whatever. It's very similar while also being just very different, and it's just so beautiful. So I picked it up and I read it, and I was just crying at how cute it was. And so I just, every single volume that came out after that, I would buy it like immediately. And they take a long time to come out, which is very rude. But I would buy it immediately and just, I started reading it that way.
So good. I can't remember, like, I can't remember how I found out about the anime, but I just knew that I found out about it because I have been reading manga I think since I was like in the 5th grade. But I specifically, and I've talked about this before, I avoided BL for years intentionally because I felt like I didn't want to fall into like, because I'm a Tumblr girl, like I grew up on Tumblr, so I kind of didn't want to fall into like the trope of like a fetishizer and things. And so it was something that I grappled with a lot. And
Yeah.
in 2020 I think I finally read my first BL, and I was like, okay, so maybe I'm not like what I'm thinking and what I thought of people before, like has shifted. So, but so I remember just being in this space, and then I'm like, people are like, oh, this is getting animated. Oh my God. And I'm like, wait a minute, I'll put it on my list.
Yes.
And then I'm like, I'm like, there's so much media. So I'm quick to like, okay, I won't think about it until the anime comes out. So I was like, all right, like this will happen. So it is so cute. So when you're watching, you're reading it and then eventually you watch the anime, when did you know that like it wasn't just something that you liked, like this is a favorite of yours?
Honestly, from that first volume, it truly like, and like I had read other romances at the time, and I have like other like top tier like romance like series, but it was just so precious, and I like fell in love with it so quickly. And at the time I was also like, I've been reading everything since I was like 2, but I stopped reading and doing a lot of like hobbies in college because it was just a lot. And so afterward I kind of got back into all my hobbies, and I picked up reading traditional novels again. And the last thing that I had been reading was YA romance, so I was getting back into YA romance books. And so being in that like YA romance novel brain, and then finding like essentially a YA romance in manga, it was just like perfect for me at the time. But also like I feel like I really fell in love with manga because of this series, because it was like the art was so beautiful, the story was so cute, the two characters are like Sasaki and Miyano are just so lovable just like on their own. Their friends around them are like so goofy and lovable too. Like I really genuinely fell in love with it from the first series. And then I like mistakenly found cdjapan.com and would start buying merch and like whatever. Like I have like I remember recording like multiple giant box haul videos, and it's all Sasamiya merch, which also thank you to the anime because we would not have gotten the merch like that without the anime. But yeah, honestly, truly from the first like volume, I knew it was gonna be a favorite.
Yes, it was. It just is so like not even just BL, just romance in general. It is such a cute story, and it is like a slow burn
Yes.
where you see like the more dominant character being the one that like fell first and fell hard. And that's one of my favorite, like he fell first, he fell hard. Like that's one of my favorite tropes. And especially someone like Sasaki, who like you really can't like get a read on him. Like he's kind of looks like a delinquent, but he's kind of like focusing and stuff. And and you mentioned the friend group, and I'm a sucker for like a friend group. Like I love a friend group. I love when there's like always like the dynamic between the friends, and there's like the upperclassmen and the lowerclassmen friends, and I'm like, yes. So it is, I think for me similarly, like when I started watching the anime, like probably first episode I was like, oh, I'm obsessed with this, I love this. And I'm not someone that like is stingy with favorites. Like, you know, some people are like, you could never like my favorites are like Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood and then Yuri on Ice. Like there's no like, oh, they gotta be like elite. Like, no, like what I love is what I love. And I felt that especially like the opening, and it has very like those shoujo vibes, like the little hearts, the little light effects, and I'm like, yes, it was very, it's so cute. I just sometimes I wish I could erase my memory and like rewatch it.
Yes, oh my god, I feel like that's so bad, especially like the manga, especially because manga takes so long for the volumes and this series, because I know like the mangaka is like really slow at putting out chapters, and now they've got like the Hirano and Kaguya or whatever. It takes so long for the volumes to come out, so sometimes I feel like when a new one does, I'm like, oh my god, it's like experiencing it for the first time. Anime, and like I also watched it as it came out, and just to like that, I wish I could erase from my brain and rewatch it for the first time, because like exactly like you said, it gives you all those like shoujo feelings with like the lights and the little effects. And I think what I also love about the series, but the anime especially, is that it's like the whole romance and everything, but it's also very slice of life. So you just have like scenes of them just like in the classroom, just like being goofy, and then them like tweaking out because they can't figure out if they're queer or if they like each other or whatever it is. And then it's just like another cute scene of them just like walking to the store, and to see that and like watch that, it's so slow and like cozy and cute. I just love it.
It is so good. So when you think about like Sasaki Miyano, you know, you're on social media, is there anything that you think the fandom or people online get wrong about the series, or there's like a common misconception with it?
That is a good question. Honestly, not really. I think also I think my biggest thing is that I don't see people talking about it enough. Like I think because, and probably because it is like so like it is sweet and like wholesome, and I think people like, you watch it and you like it, but I think because it is so like slice of life and slow or whatever, people kind of like write it off and they'll pick other things as like their favorite. And I have a lot of romance anime and manga series that I love, and a lot that are like a little more dramatic than this one and whatever. So I think my only thing that I see online is that it's just not talked about enough. I think people need to appreciate it more. Gorgeous art and like the cutie story. And I think it's a really important story to show and tell about like two young guys like figuring out their sexuality, because that is something that happens to a lot of people in high school, and it's something that happens to a lot of people when they like get their first crush and like start feeling those type of feelings for the first time. So even though it's not like as dramatic and there's not as many like life changes and things that happen, I think it's a really important story. It's a story that I wish I had when I was younger, because I was very much Miyano, and I'd be like, oh yeah, I love all the queer characters, whatever, but I don't like girls. That doesn't make sense for me. And then when I realized, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, actually, it's made sense my entire life. So I think like I relate to Miyano so much, and I think a lot of other people would, and a lot of young people would as well. So I just wish that people would talk about it more with the respect that it deserves.
Yes, I too feel like I don't see a lot, but I'll be honest, I don't like seeing content about things that I love unless it's by trusted creators. Like, and I put you on that list, where I'm just like, I just know that people don't have the nuance. They don't have like the understanding to talk about things, because I feel like if there's one thing I see, like, and you kind of like get into it, it's like it's a slower story. And I find that a lot of people, and not just with manga, but with media in general, like they need like boom, 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 action, crazy stuff, da-da-da, drama, toxic relationships. And it's like, those are fun, but stories that are slow and not as dramatic like deserve the shine too. Yeah. And I find that like with Sasaki and Miyano, like it's so easy to be like, okay, like it's a cute story, but like the journeys that they go on are so important. Especially I feel like Miyano, because he likes BL and he is like wants to be sure that he isn't like at like talking or hanging out with Sasaki because of the BL aspect. And he's like, even though I read BL and this is a huge interest, like I need to make sure that do I like you or am I thinking about like being in the manga? And that's such an important conversation that he has with himself, that it's like we need that, like it's important, because I feel sometimes too like you are not the media that you consume. And we, especially, I'm sure, you know, being in the book space, like you see people, especially with censorship and like people being like, oh, you like monsters fucking or whatever, like you crazy and you approve of those type of things in real life. And it's like, no, like you do need that representation to be like, okay, like is this something actually that I like, or am I misconstruing my feelings because of this? And I think another aspect that I think is not appreciated enough in this story is how Sasaki is really pursuing Miyano in such a respectful way.
Yes.
And he's like, I'm not going to pressure you. I'm not going to be like, oh, you need to be with me. Like, I understand like your feelings are complicated, but he still manages to be there and hang out with him and be his friend without expecting anything in return. Like he would like Miyano to return his feelings, but he's not forcing it. And it's like, that's an important aspect to show too, because sometimes people get frustrated in their feelings or get hurt, and Sasaki's prioritizing just being with him, around him in whatever capacity, before like, you know, being like, oh, I can't hang out with you because I like you.
Yes. And I think like there's so many like weird stereotypes about like gay men, and especially in media, and especially in media that's like written by women. And I think that this story just like just doesn't mess with that at all. Like Sasaki is the king of yearning. Like he is just yearning for Miyano the whole series, but he also is just so respectful, and he's like the consent king, and he's like, oh, like so much of it he's like, oh, I just want to touch him, like I just want to hold his hand or like pat his head or whatever, and he won't. And like it's so cute the way he beats himself up over it, and it's like so sweet, but at the same time he's just like, oh, like I'm not gonna do these things because we are friends, and he has not reciprocated these feelings to me, and that's okay. Like I will wait and like see how he feels. Like I appreciate, like he is so appreciative that Miyano takes the time to truly think about it, which I think is also important, because I feel like people have all these weird stereotypes and thoughts about like young people's like queer media, and like a young person's gonna read a BL and be like, oh well, I read this, so like I guess I'm gay, and
I'm gay now.
yeah, like, that could totally happen. Like you could read that and it could be your awakening and be like, oh, like maybe I am. But for some people it's like, no, like I'm just like appreciating like a different type of love story. And I think the way that like Miyano takes so much time, like like you were saying, like he takes so much time to really consider if it's just like an interest that he has, or if it's his true feelings. And I think that's also really respectful of Sasaki, because like he says from the beginning, like he does think that like he's cute and like attractive or whatever in like that BL sense, but he doesn't think of him in the BL way, which I think is really respectful of Sasaki, like as a person, like someone that he could be friends with, but also just like as a human, to like really take the time and think about like, okay, like who am I? Why do I feel this way? Why do I like this type of media? I just love that they like both take their time with each other, and it's just, they're so lit.
So perfect. That's why we love them. So what is an opinion then that you have that you think other people in the fandom wouldn't agree with you on?
Oh, good question. I think, well, one, I think my biggest opinion actually has to do with Hirano and Kagiura. And I actually don't know what the reception to that side spin-off. I don't know if you've read that manga yet.
I have it actually, and did I unwrap it? I don't even think it's unwrapped. No, I have not read it yet. It's not unwrapped.
Oh, good.
But it's there. I have it.
You should try it, because I obviously bought it because I will read anything that they write. They also have another series in that's not in English yet, and like I own the Japanese manga. Can't read it, don't know what it's saying, but I bought it anyway. But I actually think a lot of people actually liked Hirano and Kagiura more than they liked Sasaki and Miyano. Because that one's a little faster paced. But you'll see when you read it. In like I think the first volume, Kagiura is like, "Oh, like I like you, like I want to be with you," and Hirano is like, "I don't like boys." So you also get like this other journey of like another like young man figuring out his sexuality, his feelings, or whatever. I think people liked Hirano and Kagiura more, and I definitely liked him more than I thought that I would. But Sasaki and Miyano is just still elite. And I love when like a side character couple gets like their moment to shine. So I love that for them. But if anybody thinks that it's better, I just think that they are wrong. Sasaki and Miyano is still better. They're both great couples, but I think it's still better.
Yeah, I also, did you read, because I think why I may not have read it yet is because the creator also released the light novel, and she said that the light novel is not the manga and it comes before the manga. And I was like, I didn't get the light novel.
Okay.
So I'm like, maybe I should get that first and get the additional context.
Oh, see, I have the light novels. Like I said, I'll buy everything, but I haven't read them. So I don't know.
Read it and get back to me. Then I'll read it.
I'll just get back to you and see like if you have to read it, because Hirano Kagiura makes sense. Like I think they show them very briefly, like in the first anime. Hirano more so than Kagiura. So like, it made sense. But I'll read it. I'll get back to you.
Yeah, because I saw it in one of the author notes that she put in like one of the end of the Sasaki Miyano volumes, and was like, people have been asking, and it's like, no, the manga isn't like, it's a different story, so it's not the adaptation of the light novel.
Okay.
So I'm like, I'm interested in that, but I think that might cover like when they first became roommates. I don't know, but I'm trying to think if I have an unpopular opinion, and it's probably that I just don't like people talking about series that I love. But I'm like, that's not. I say that every podcast that I record, where I'm just like that. Okay, so this is, I would say, is not really about Sasaki Miyano specifically, but it involves them, and it is. I hate when people like are like, this is fluff, this is the good BL, this is the good yaoi, and it's like, while yes, it is a softer story, and those stories are so important, I don't like the use of Sasaki and Miyano to villainize other stories. And a lot of people with the book bannings, when it got banned in a school in Florida, were like, but that's the good BL. And it's like, no, like there is no moral ground with media, like especially LGBTQ media. Like there's no way to be a right gay and a wrong gay. Like they just don't care about you because you are gay. And that, I feel like, I just wish that people, because I do think, like we were saying, like it is such a cute and fluffy story, and it's important to highlight that, because if you want something softer, because I'm like, I don't want to have anxiety all the time, like I just don't, like I live with anxiety, like I can't be like, bro, is somebody gonna die the next like I'm like, so
relax.
Yes, and so much of especially because I read a lot of like manhwa, like BL manhwa, and for some reason it's all like crazy stuff. I'm like, I need the
I can think of. They're like, yeah, I'm gonna write that right now.
Yeah, so I just hate the propping up, and I see this too of like people being like, oh, a starter, like ease you into the genre, and I'm like, if you can't accept me at like my worst interpretation of BL, like I also don't want you having the light fluffy version, because I think they all serve a purpose, even if it's like a purpose being like, yeah, we do not do these harmful tropes anymore. But I think people will use Sasaki Miyano like, I'm not one of those other BL readers, I don't read the bad stuff. And it's like, girl, we all reading gay books. Like we all reading gay books. In the eyes of people who hate gay people, you're not better or worse because you're reading Sasaki Miyano over like Twilight Out of Focus or something.
Yes. And you know what? I read Twilight Out of Focus and I loved it. I haven't
read it yet.
You haven't read it yet?
But I saw the anime, and I was like, I need to get it, but I was like, I need to stop buying manga for a little bit, so I haven't got it yet.
I'm on the buying ban, and it's hurting my soul. Because like even like, so Therapy Game is one of my other like top tier like favorite mangas. I don't know if it would ever get an anime, but it's like one of my favorites. And like that one is like the complete opposite of Sasaki and Miyano. Like it starts off with a one night stand, and it's very spicy, and it's another story where like one of the characters is like already out as gay, and the other one like has never liked a man before, and so kind of similar in that plot line, but it is like filthy at times.
Mm-hmm.
The other things that I read are absolutely filthy. Straight manga, straight books, queer books, whatever. And like I read monster books, like I read monster BL, whatever. I felt the same way, especially when they banned it in Florida, and I was like, you can't just like look and say like this is the better.
Mm-hmm.
Like every media like has its purpose and whatever, and like Sasaki and Miyano, that was written for teenagers. They need something that's like a little more age appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
And we can enjoy it as adults. We were teenagers once, whatever. But like something like Therapy Game, or like oh my god, hold on, I have the bunnies behind me. I can't think of 10 Count. Something like 10 Count. That is like, have you read that one?
I have it, and I was actually thinking of getting rid of it because I was like, I have not. I think I read the first volume, and then I have like up to 4.
I'm dead. I have the whole series. I got my bunnies. I got the art figure. Like I really like that series, but it's like messed up. It's a therapist with his patient. That is so, yeah. That's so unethical.
Violating ethical laws.
Violate so many lines, boundaries crossed. Would never condone that in real life. But in the story, I had a great time. So
Yes.
I feel, and like that is the nuance that you've been talking about that some people just like don't have. Like they can't look at a story and be like, yeah, you know what, in real life, not great. But in fiction, that's like a safe place to explore all those type of things and to show that some things are not great, but like that it's okay to still read about it. So to prop like Sasaki and me, like doesn't matter that I adore it and I love it and whatever, to prop it up as like the pinnacle of what the genre should be or BL should be is just so messed up, because just because it's soft and sweet and whatever, and some of these other ones are like super unethical or like super spicy and like filthy or whatever, doesn't mean that they're lesser or that you are lesser or weirder for reading it. You can read whatever you want.
That is literally my, like, the vein of my existence is the then attaching the morals to the person.
Yes.
And it's like I am not what I read. And I definitely, like, I have things that I'm like I won't read. Like, I'm sorry, incest people. Like, I'm not doing incest. I just can't. Like, that's my line. But I'm pretty, like, you know, if I like the story, like, I wrote an essay about this, and I mentioned Sasaki Miyano and the prop up, because I read Jinx, the manhwa.
Me too.
And I love it. I love Jinx.
I love it so much.
And I made one TikTok about it, and I was scared for my life because I'm like, if the Jinx haters come here, like y'all are getting it, because I just feel like it's a story, like, and I don't care, but it's like the people who hate Jinx, they'll just be on a video, somebody will be like 5 BL that I like, and they'll comment, thank God you didn't mention Jinx.
Yes.
A real reader right here. And it's like, girl, nobody cares that you don't like Jinx. Go away.
Like, we also, like, I know that it's bad. I know, I can't remember the guy's name. What's the...
I just, Young, I call him J.
Yeah.
They call him JJK.
JJK, I love that. I'm
JK.
that one. But, like, I know that he is a horrible human being.
He's awful. But I also want him to be redeemed. I want them together.
I almost, you know what? I'm so behind. So I don't know where you're at with it. I actually don't want him to get a redemption arc. Like, I do want them to be together at the end, whatever. I want Dan to beat the shit out of him. That's what I want. Like, I want him to destroy him and like, and whatever, and then he can get his redemption arc, and then they can be together. That's how I feel.
I'm trying to think of where, because I'm caught up, and it's not there yet. Like, it's definitely, Dan has put his foot down, though.
Good.
Dan has put his foot down.
Because I really like him.
But we're exploring JK's past right now. Like, what's happening here? Right. And it is sad. But I'm like, you know, we'll get there. but it's
love. He's still a person, but he's a fictional person. But
he needs to gravel.
His ass beat. Like, I just want him like destroyed first before he gets his redemption arc. Also, I'm never gonna stop reading it because the art is beautiful. Like
It is so, it's so,
gorgeous.
I mean, we've read too, like, worse stories with, like, women and men, like, also having, like, bad start of relationships and then they
Yep.
end up together. Like, be serious.
I know. I even think back to like AP Lit and like the classics that I had to
Mm-hmm.
read to be like a scholar or whatever, and a lot of them were messed up, like beyond
Yeah.
messed up, and they're heralded as like the like epitome of good writing and good literature or whatever. So if I want to read a toxic romance, I'm gonna read the toxic romance. I have the brain cells to like think about it and talk about it logically, but it's also fiction. So it
Yes.
really like we can do what we want here.
Yes, like it doesn't define people, and I like wish more people would just. But then again, too, this is why I'm like I don't really. It sounds so hypocritical because I like make content, but I don't really consume a lot of content because I'm like you guys just don't have the range. You don't know what you're talking about,
Yeah.
and it's like you're being as worse as conservatives. Like you're on the same level with the type of stuff that you're spewing
Yep.
without even realizing it.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
it's crazy. But back to Sasaki and Miyano.
Yeah. That's the voice.
Yes. In what ways, or when you think about Sasaki and Miyano's legacy, what do you think it is in the space?
Oh, I think like and I'm not like putting it on a pedestal or making it like the pinnacle, but I do think that it is genuinely good storytelling. I think that it is an important story that like needs to be told. I also think art-wise, like she is just an incredibly talented artist, and like it is so when you look at like the BL of like the 2000s and like earlier, it's like so similar in the art style while also making it modern, which I think is like really important as the art form continues and we continue getting more stories. So I really just think that like it is a good example of like writing and storytelling and love, and it is just so sweet. And I also the manga now, and like I really hope, like I know they made the graduation movie, but I hope that they make another season. And I know I'm asking for a lot because we never get that, but I would love for them to get another season because in the manga now Sasaki is in college and
Mm-hmm.
Miyano is a third year. Yeah, so to explore like that relationship moving forward, like they're older, they're in college, Miyano has to figure out like where he wants to go, what he wants to do, and then they have to figure out their relationship as adults. I would love to see like that animated for more people to just see that story and just like see a love grow that's still sweet and like beautiful. And I also think the scene where Miyano comes out to his mom
Yes. Oh,
was
love that
oh,
scene.
I love that scene, and it's so perfect because she's like, "Yeah, babe, like I know, like we all know, and it's fine. Like I love you, and I like I've been new. Like it's fine." I think that scene is so important. I wish we had more scenes like that in
Mm-hmm.
PL, even as the adults. 'Cause I feel like I read a lot of adult stories where like either one or both of them like don't realize yet that they're queer, and I wish that we had like more just like good coming out scenes like that because I think it's important for adults who need that, for young people who need that, whatever. So I think that, yeah, for Sasaki and Miyano, I just think that it is just such a beautifully done story and like art form. I think that's really its legacy.
Yes, I agree completely. I think for me, I would say specifically the anime, it's really inspired, and I think along with Given, just this
Mhm.
new age of more BL
Yes.
adaptations.
Yes.
It's funny because I have both of them like right behind me as I say that,
Love that.
but I really think that it is, we're at least getting almost every season we have a BL story or BL adjacent, and I think they may have like maybe underestimated like Sasaki Miyano's power, but I really think in combination with Given, like it's letting people know like, hey, like we want these stories
Yeah.
animated, and now we got Twilight Out of Focus,
Yeah.
Cherry Magic, and it's like
Magic.
keep them coming, feed
Yes.
me more.
Please, yes. We need more romance. We need more queer romance. It has been like on the back burner in like
Mm-hmm.
anime and animation for so long. I'm like loving this little renaissance of romance, and I agree. I think Sasaki and Miyano, and I love that you pair it with Given because Given is also just such another like beautifully written story and like such a good like coming of age story, but in a different way than Sasaki.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I 100% agree.
Yes, that's also one of my no touch. I'm like, I can't let anybody come and talk
I
about Given
love
because
them.
it's just so. I'm like, I could go back to school and write a dissertation
Oh
on
my
my
God,
Given
you should.
feelings. And then, in what ways has Sasaki Miyano personally impacted you or changed your life? You kind of touched upon, like it really rocketed your manga journey, but was there anything else about the series that changed you?
Yeah, so it definitely was like my like definitely changed like the trajectory of like my manga and anime like consumption. I don't think that I would have loved romance the same way that I do if I hadn't found that series when I did. But I think also for me personally, like I said earlier, I really relate to Miyano because I spent a lot of my like youth like consuming queer media and like really loving like the queer characters in shows and like and in books and in movies and whatever, and not really like understanding my own self and my own sexuality. And it took me until college to figure it out, so I'm glad that it didn't take him till college. But watching his journey of like finding love and also like understanding his bisexuality or whatever was just really transformative and really beautiful for me, even as an adult who's kind of got it figured out now. It's definitely something that I wish that I had when I was younger, and I wonder how it like would have changed me if I had found it when I was like 14 or 15 or 16. But yeah, to watch his journey and just to watch it like for and I feel like oftentimes with like queer media or like with marginalized characters in general, whether it's like race or sexuality or class, like whatever it is, a lot of the stories are always so traumatic and to get to where the character ends up going. And this is not that at all. Like, literally, he is just being loved unconditionally by a cute older boy. And that is what, like, springboards his journey. And, like, it's a romance. So at the end of it, like, they're in love and everything is happy and whatever. So to get, like, a non traumatic, coming out story of like teenagers was also very important to me because that I feel like that's only something we've been getting in recent years. And to
Mm-hmm.
get it also out of like Asian media and not like Western media, like that is also really special because I feel like a lot of us who I'm Nigerian and Portuguese, like so my parents are from like not the US. I feel like a lot of us who are also marginalized or like have are first generation or are immigrants or have parents from like other countries or whatever, to get something like so beautiful and wholesome and so like important to me to come from non-Western media also was like just super cool, I think.
Yeah, that's such a beautiful that's such a beautiful impact. I think for me, I will say that it's I so I'm a mom. And I don't really talk about being a mom because that's not what my content is about. But I will say becoming a mom has really transformed the way I consume media involving teenagers and children. Because before, a lot of the stories I would self insert. So I'm Deku.
Mm-hmm.
I'm card captor Sakura. Like I am though, even though I'm like in my big age, like you
Yeah.
still always kind of self insert into the main character. And with Sasaki Miyano, specifically, I when I was like, because I watched it, but then I read it, and specifically when I was reading it, I was like, my son's nowhere near school aged.
Yeah.
And me and my husband are like, we'll love you no matter what. But I think about it really had a lot of like, we talk about the whole dynamic. Like it is, yes, a BL story, but we see their friends, we see their
Mm-hmm.
school stuff, and like just their mind. It's a very age appropriate relationship in the sense of like, sometimes a lot of like school romances are like, we're gonna be together forever, and you're like, go to college, like you don't even know what to talk about. Like I feel like this story specifically is very like the characters, their love is appropriate for the age that they're at. And I think reading it kind of gave me this perspective of like, because I don't have like teens in my family. Like me and my sister, all our kids are the same age,
Mm-hmm.
and we're not there yet. So I'm like, when I get there, like
Mm-hmm.
this is the things that teens are dealing with. And I'm like, that kind of gives me that perspective of like what it will be like. Because I feel like by the time usually like your parents are so far removed from that. Like they just don't have any understanding of what those feelings feel like. And I feel like Sasaki and Miyano specifically is very true to like teen knowledge and teen feelings. So I thought that was really great. And obviously like what you've mentioned, like I can imagine for queer people or just anyone, like if you've been in a place where you're kind of just like confused and you're having to figure something out about yourself, like this is just the perfect story.
It is.
So I just want to thank you so much for being here, my sister BL, my sister Sasaki and Miyano.
Yes, thank you.
We have formed an unformidable bond.
Absolutely.
We have been changed by this conversation.
Yes.
So, as we wrap up, do you have any upcoming projects or anything that you're working on that people should go check out when they listen to this?
Okay, well, first I want to thank you for having me on. I'm so excited. And I just like, I love to find like fellow, like kin. Like, we like the same things.
We're
It's
here.
so cool. Like, thank you so much for having me on. As far as projects go, I just started my YouTube like a month ago, so I have some like book content planned, but I also have some manga content planned that I'm really excited to put out on that. Specifically, this room that I'm in, this video is like not even done. I've been filming it for a year of like redoing this whole room. So I have a very exciting video about my manga room that I am putting out soon. And I write for Read In magazine and Pretty Girls Do Read now. So I've written one article about manga, but I have a couple ideas for other manga articles that I'm excited to put out. And specifically like interviewing other people to get their ideas and perspectives on manga. So keep an eye out on Read In magazine for all of that too.
Yeah, and I will be sure to include links to everything that you talked about in the description of this video. So thank you so much. And to those listening, thank you guys for listening. And be sure to subscribe, leave a review if you're watching on YouTube. Make sure you're commenting along to our conversation. But Leah, thank you so much for being here. And I will see all of you guys later. Goodbye.
Bye.